Hello and welcome to our new grammar lesson, Comparative and Superlative Adverbs, Grade 4. Now to start with, we have to revise what is an adverb. We talked about this before, and we know that an adverb tells more about the verb. So, it's a word that we use in a sentence in order to tell more details about the verb, about the action in the sentence. So it describes the action. And as we did with the adjectives, and we compared them, now we want to know how to use comparative and superlative adverbs. Of course, the first thing to know is the comparative adverbs, and simply they compare two actions. Comparative adverbs compare two actions. Two actions. Comparative means two. And superlative adverbs are used when we want to compare three or more actions. So, like, superlative means comparing three or more, and comparative means comparing two actions. Superlative, comparing three or more. And now, as we did with the adjectives, we have now the adverbs, and there are two types of adverbs according to how many syllables are there in the word. So there are short adverbs, means that the adverb contains only one syllable, and longer adverbs which contain two or three or more syllables. What does this mean? Short adverbs mostly have one syllable or one vowel, like hard, soon, fast. Now someone will say, teacher, we used hard and fast as adjectives. And yes, some adjectives and some adverbs are nearly the same or are the same, but how we use them in the sentence is what differs. We said that the adjective describes a noun. So if the word hard describes a noun, it's a hard time, so it's an adjective. But if I used hard as an adverb, now I will be describing an action. The baby cried hard. So now I'm using hard as an adverb describing hard. Describing cries, which is an action. Okay, so sometimes if the word describes, sometimes some words are used as adjectives and as adverbs, and it will be very clear in the sentence which word this adjective or So how to compare the short adverbs? What do we add? As we did before, we add er if we are comparing two actions. Hard, harder, soon, sooner, fast, faster. So the sun rose later today, and later is the adverb, and now we are comparing two actions, the sun rising today and yesterday. So the adverb is late. We drop the e and then add er to the adverb. What if the adverb is of a longer form? The word is longer, it has more syllables, or it has an ly at the end. How do we compare this? To compare two actions, we add more, then the adverb, and then than. We add more, adverb, than. More slowly, than. More beautifully, than. more quietly than, more quickly than, more carefully than, more slowly than, more gracefully than. Now compare two actions according to what is the verb that we have. Now we are comparing a whale to a seal, and a whale can dive deeper than a seal. And now deeper is the adverb, and another example, penguins walk more slowly than we do. So what are we comparing here? We are comparing the action. What about superlative adverbs? If I want to compare three or more things or three or more actions, what do I do? What do you expect? If the adverb is a short or one syllable adverb, what do I add? I add est. Like, for example, we left early, but we arrived soonest of all. So soon is the adverb, describes the way we when we arrived, and of all is the clue word. Of all is. Now superlative adverbs, we compare three or more actions, and we still working with the short adverbs. We add est. Very simple. I scored highest of all the students in the English test. So I'm comparing my score, how I scored, to all the other students. So I need to use superlative adverbs, and the adverb is high, and I added est because it's a superlative. Now for longer adverbs, what do I do if I want to compare three actions? I add most and then the adverb, the most. Like what? Beautifully, it will be most beautifully if I am comparing three things, three actions. Amazingly, most amazingly. Gracefully, most gracefully. Comparing three or more. Compare three or more superlative adverbs. I add most and then the adverb. The snow fell most heavily of all. So I'm comparing the way the snow fell today of all the other days during the year. I add most before the adverb, which is heavily. And the crows caw most noisily of all. So I'm comparing the way the crows caw to all the other the other birds. So I'm comparing more than three birds. The adverb was noisily, so I added most noisily. Now I have irregular adverbs as the same as I had with irregular adjectives. Now the adverbs, we have to memorize them. Well, this is the adverb. Better if I'm comparing two, and best if I'm comparing three or more. Badly is the adverb. Worse if I'm comparing two, and worst if I'm comparing three or more. The boat's engine ran better today than it did yesterday. So I used better here to. And now this is a table to summarize some the basic parts in the lesson. So for adverbs ending in ly, like carefully and quickly, if I'm using comparative adverbs, I compare between two things: more carefully than, more quickly than. Or if I am comparing three or more actions, superlative adverbs: most carefully, most quickly. Now the adverbs with the same form as adjectives, like fast, faster and fastest, hard, harder, hardest, and irregular and earliest. Now notice that I changed the Y into I and then added ER or added EST. Irregular adverbs like badly, worse, worst, well, better, best, little, less and least, much more and most. These last two adverbs are not mentioned in the book. Thank you.